In the middle of class, Yukari shoots countless glances at Kohane. Yeah, I blame you for this, Kohane. You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me anything about what was going on. And it's like I feel like a lot of these characters, like Kohane and Fuyumi and some other characters, like know more about what's going on. They know more about what's going on, but they're not. They didn't really tell us anything. But I mean, I guess you could say, well, they didn't think this would happen. But I don't know. It's like I feel like those characters, like they could have at least let us know, like, hey, this is a crazy cult and they're, coming back to do some crazy shit again. Maybe some of this could have been preventable, I guess. She was asked last night by her brother to do something. She just has to ask Kohane a few questions, but she's very reluctant to do so. It's made even worse by the fact that Kohane herself hasn't told her anything about this. Looks like she hasn't. I mean, it seems like she hasn't really told anybody about this. She wanted to turn him down, but her brother's serious face convinced her. She doesn't understand how Kohane is important to his investigation, but if this could lead to Yukiko's return. The bell signaling the end of class rings. Kohane approaches her right away when their professor leaves the classroom. Hey, Yukarichi, about Yukiko-chan. Yes, I still haven't figured anything out. Is your brother looking into it? It looks like it. Kohane, you were with Yukiko in the past, right? Yeah, I guess. What do you mean you guess? That's something you should know. I want you to tell me about it. When you were in the orphanage. I told you a little about it before, but I don't really remember much more than that. I guess I'm not much better than Yukiko-chan, huh? You don't remember? Yeah, like how I ended up there or who my real parents are. I feel like all of a sudden I was just there, with no idea how I got there. That's even more suspicious, so she doesn't even know. You were there before you were really able to remember things? Probably. I don't think the war affected that much since it was in the mountains, but I have no idea where I came from before that. I see. Yukari's starting to regret asking. She feels like she's made Kohane relive painful memories for no reason. I'm sorry, Kohane. No, you don't need to apologize. It was a little nice remembering the past like that. There was a big church where we were back then. A church? I don't think it was a Christian church, though. I didn't really get that stuff back then, so I just thought it was pretty. I see. I'd like to see it someday. Maybe she shouldn't have gotten that impression, but it's what Yukari honestly feels. Yukiko-chan and Yukio-chan and I all played together in the church a lot, though there wasn't really anything to play with, so it was all riddles and stuff. Yukio? She hasn't heard that name before. Yeah, Yukiko-chan's brother, though it seems like Yukiko-chan doesn't remember him. Okay, yeah, I kind of figured that might have been her brother. That might have been her brother. You mentioned that before, didn't you? Yukari nods, again thinking it unusual. Should she tell this to her brother? If he's doing well, I'd like to see him again, Kohane mumbles. Do you know where he is? No, I don't know anything about what happened after I left the orphanage, and since Yukiko-chan doesn't remember him either, I don't know if that's true or not, of course. Kohane. The bell rings. Class is starting. Kohane returns to her seat. Still feeling uneasy about this whole thing, all Yukari can do is prepare for her next class. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there are certain, if Kohane can't remember everything, but she can remember some things that might actually be important, it seems. I stop by the town hall in the morning and pick up a copy of her family register, then head to the deserted moon world. It's not really necessary to be here, I just wanted somewhere I could relax nearby. It's pretty depressing that I can't get any coffee, but there's not much I can do about that. I sit down on a stool and have a look at the files. Tori Kohane. She lives with her adoptive parents in a house along the Kanda River in the Suginami ward. Kohane's former surname is Yoshino. That matches the name I saw in the White Lily Garden. And I take out the piece of paper I got from Hinagami Shizuru. Yoshino Midori. Are these surnames a coincidence? It's true that it's a common surname. Yoshino Midori's family register was destroyed in the war, and Hinagami Shizuru had confirmed that she's dead. That's probably why he couldn't find Kohane even with the power of Hinagami Pharmaceuticals. But to think she was this close. I've tasked Yukari with asking Kohane about her past, but she might be too reluctant to do it. I should look into it myself. First, I should head to her neighborhood, ask the people around there, and if possible, talk to her adoptive parents. I take the Inokashira line to Kugiyama Station and walk a short ways to the Kanda River. I stop when I see a nameplate that reads Tori. It's a cozy little house. This must be it. There are some potted plants around the house, but most of them have been left alone to wither and die. Guess whoever's taking care of them isn't very thorough. I try to check out the house as discreetly as possible, but I don't sense anyone inside. Guess no one's home. Oh well, guess I'll have to ask the neighbors then. I peek into a small store about 3 houses down. Welcome. What would you like? Do you have any cola? Yeah, of course. The shopkeeper picks up a bottle of cola from a case on the dirt floor. Here you go, 30,000 yen. The shopkeeper holds out a wrinkled hand. I take out 3 10-yen coins from my wallet and a shiny 100-yen one as well. Oh my, you aren't very good at math, are you, hon? I don't want to hear that from someone who told me 30,000. No, please take it. In return, I'd like to ask you a few questions. I say to her as I take the bottle of cola. Oh yeah? First, could you lend me a bottle opener? That wall. The shopkeeper points to a pillar that has a bottle opener screwed into it. I hook the cap on and pull it off with some leverage. The bubbles rise up almost to the lip of the bottle. The cola is pleasantly cool because of its storage near the ground. So there's a house over there belonging to the Tori family. You want to know something about Kohane-chan's house? They didn't appear to be home when I checked. Oh yeah? That's odd. Husband and wife are both out. Yeah. Come to think of it, a while back Kohane-chan said they weren't doing too well. Maybe they didn't notice you because they were sleeping. What kind of girl is Kohane-san? She's a great kid, so friendly, greets me every day. It sounds like she does almost everything at home. Are her parents both bedridden? They had never had kids and were pretty old by the time they took Kohane-chan in. Oh, me and my big mouth. No, I know she's adopted. What kind of people are her parents? Just normal folks. Husband's a plasterer, wife's a seamstress, I think. Have you heard anything about them being very religious? When the husband's nephew died in the war, I believe they said they had a funeral at a Jodo Shinsho temple. Also known as Shin Buddhism, Jodo Shinso is a school of Pure Land Buddhism and the most widely practiced branch of Buddhism in Japan. It's difficult to say from a nephew, but if she hasn't heard anything about them being religious, I doubt they're heavily related to the Blessed Congregation. Thank you very much for your time. I leave the empty cola bottle and look back toward the Tori residence. If I ask about the details from when they took in Kohane, maybe I can find out something about her parents. Huh? Well, if it isn't the brother. Huh? When I turn around, I find Kohane looking up at me curiously. Hey, Tori-san. What are you doing in front of my house? Kohane cocks her head. Well, that's a valid question. I had some business with that shop over there. I point at the store I was just talking at. Did that lady over there do something? Nah, nothing like that. Don't worry about it. Uh-huh. Oh, want to come in? I don't have anything to offer but tea, though. Guess I'll take you up on that then. How fortunate for us, she showed up right when we needed her to. Well, when opportunity knocks, right? I'm home. I follow Kohane inside. Right after entering the house, Kohane takes me to what must be her room. I'm gonna go change, so please wait here. Kohane leaves the room. There was some men's shoes and sandals by the door too, but I don't sense anyone inside the house. Do her parents really live here? Then we're gonna find some dead bodies in the next room. I get up to the next door and listen. The only sound I can hear is what's most likely Kohane changing. Nothing else, no electronic appliances or anything. When the sound of her changing clothes stops, I hear the clanking of a kettle, followed by water being poured into it. I hear a gas stove being lit. When I hear footsteps approaching, I back away from the door. I'm boiling the water now, so just wait a bit longer. Are your parents home? Looks like they're not feeling well, so they're resting in their room in the back. Well, there's nothing suspicious about that. I see, then I probably shouldn't stay too long. You don't need to worry about them. Tell me though, what were you investigating? Kohane asks me, immensely curious. It looks like somebody I'm investigating lives around here. Hey, it's not a lie. What kind of somebody? I know pretty much everyone around here. I might know them. Yeah? It's a woman named Yoshino Midori. I give her the name and gauge her reaction. Yoshino Midori-san? I don't know her. But Kohane doesn't appear to react at all. You don't? Not even the surname? Nope, the lady at the store didn't know either, did she? Yeah. I don't think there's anyone around here with that name, but do you want me to ask around? Nah, you don't need to do that. These investigations have got to be secret, you know? I don't want the very person I'm investigating finding out. I guess that makes sense. Kohane agrees easier than I figured she would. It looks like she really doesn't know the name. Is it possible not to remember a parent's name, your own surname? Come to think of it, when did you first join the orphanage? Huh? Did Yukarichi tell you about that? Yeah, something like that. I answer ambiguously. I was in that orphanage by the time I was old enough to remember stuff. The White Lily Garden? Yeah, it was in the mountains and part of it was this big church. I don't think it was a Christian church though. When did your current parents adopt you? I think it was about 5 years ago when my current parents took me in. Was that after the White Lily Garden shut down? No, I only heard that it closed after I came here. Everyone got separated, including Yukiko-chan and Yukio-chan. Yukio? Yukiko-chan's brother. It seemed like they got separated though, and I don't know where he ended up. I've seen that name before. He was on the list I saw at the MPD yesterday, the list of the deceased. I shouldn't tell her that, since I don't have any real proof of it. I wonder if Yukiko's brother is someone we've actually seen already. Like maybe it's a character we already know about. Ah, I forgot about the water. Kohane stands up. I'm sorry, but I think I'm actually going to get going. You don't want tea? I'll have some next time I'm over. I guess you must be busy with your work. Yeah, make sure you lock up after I leave. I part with Kohane and head outside. I closely observe the entrance while I'm leaving and notice that the sandals at the door are covered in dust. Doesn't look like they've been worn in a long time. Maybe I'm right about there being dead bodies in the house. Something's not right here. But it's not my job to figure this out. Maybe I should be worried. But I'm more worried about other things at the moment. I take the piece of paper I got from Shizuru out of my pocket. There's a good possibility that Kohane is one of Hinagami Aito's marriage candidates. Oh boy, that's creepy. Yoshino Midori's daughter. But I don't think she knows anything about this. Was she chosen just for her blood? The blood of her mother? What could that mean? In any case, I can't let the culprit know about her. I was careful when I came here, and I haven't sensed anyone following me, so I doubt they'd be able to figure it out anytime soon. But I should be proactive about this. I need to point the culprit's attention in another direction. Yeah, so apparently one of the candidates is Kohane. That's I feel like the age gap there is a little bit too big, but I guess back then they weren't as concerned about things like that, especially not in Japan. Masaki stares at some documents in Toji's office in Ueno. One of them is a photograph of Atsugi Keigo. He look familiar? No, I never saw him in my hometown. Masaki's hometown, the Hitogata settlement. Apparently, he was involved in the formation of the Congregation of the Blessed and visited the Hitogata settlement countless times before the war. What was he there for? Heck if I know. I think he was working for the original founder, Shigusa Michio, but what about Oribe? I don't remember this person either. Masaki replies after looking at the picture of Oribe Tokihiro. It was a small settlement, so you knew right away when outsiders came. Though, this is when I was little, so I could just not remember. Masaki doesn't even remember Shigusa Michio. Otsuki remained a member after the Congregation of the Blessed became Senri, but I guess he was working away from the main faction. Toji flips through the documents. He created an Oribe faction of the group and distinguished it from the main faction. That's why they weren't affected too much when Senri was dissolved. Masaki's heard this a few times already as well. If Oribe has been killed, it was, in all likelihood, an inside job. If that's true, then Atsugi Keigo, this guy, is the most suspicious. Yeah, I have to agree, I think Atsugi is probably the one that killed him. Do you have any proof of that? Not yet, but it'd be weirder not to suspect the second in command, and the guy who's in charge of their finances, right? Probably so. But we know too little about Atsugi Keigo. That's why I was asking you about when he was at your village. Well, someone older than me might remember. Someone older. Naori's not much older than Masaki. Kauden's the same age. His father Shizuru and Nanako are the only people he knows in Tokyo. Should I go to the hospital and ask Nanako-san? He'd just as soon not talk to his father. It'd be easy to talk to Nanako, but she's somewhat close to the Blessed Congregation. Do you think there's a possibility of her leaking what we're investigating? But on the other hand, we might get some info about the inside of the congregation. I guess that's true. Toji nods, then starts tidying up the documents. Today's Saturday. The hospital shouldn't be too busy in the evening. Give me those pictures. Masaki hands over the pictures of Otsugi and Oribe. By the way, Masaki. Yeah? Do you even know if she's at the hospital? She's part-time, right? If she's not there, I'll think of something else. I wonder if she'll actually tell you anything, though. I also have to wonder, like, how involved she is in all this. I head to Kichijoji Station from Kohane's house. If I don't come up with some kind of countermeasure, she'll probably be targeted. I need to make sure that doesn't happen. I can't report this to Hinagami Shizuru either, of course. He's most likely the source of the leak. The biggest issue right now is that we don't have any proof to arrest anyone on. I guess all I can do is bait the culprit. Though that's dangerous, so I'll need to make absolutely sure. Tokisaka-sensei. I stop when I hear a voice. There's only one person who still calls me sensei. What is it, Sato-san? When I turn around, a uniformed Sato Ayemu stands there, just as I suspected. Are you working? Well, yeah. You must be busy. Well, it's my job. After last night, I understand. Ayemu looks toward the alley that leads to Moonworld. Did she say anything after that? I don't know. I haven't seen her. You haven't spoken? She was in kind of a bad mood, so... I don't blame her. You do sort of have the tendency to try and solve everything yourself, Sensei. I don't really want to be hearing that from a girl this much younger than me. Is there anyone else you failed to inform? Come to think of it, did I tell Masaki and Toji? Nah, I probably figured they had nothing to do with it, so they didn't need to know. I think I'm okay on that front. I'll help out anytime you need me. Nah, I'm grateful for the offer though. I can't involve you in anything dangerous. So there's something I could help with, but it's dangerous? No, that's not what I meant. Damn. Well, if it comes to it, I'll be counting on you. I try to tie up the conversation, but... When do you think that'll be? God, she's kind of pushy about this, isn't she? She's really hounding me. There's something I want to try, but it's too dangerous. It's possible we could resolve this thing if it does work, but... It seems like you have an idea. I've only been thinking for a few seconds, but Ayamu's right on the money. No, not really. How suspicious. She's just like a detective. I really feel like I'm being cross-examined here, and it doesn't help that she's almost as tall as I am. I need to remind myself that she's younger than Yukari. I have a bit of experience in kendo, you know. Hey, being overconfident could cloud your judgment. Of course, I'm aware. That's why I never shirk my daily training. Such determination. So if you think of something, please don't hesitate to ask for my assistance. Gag me with a spoon. She's of the right age, and she's really the best person for this job. But it's too risky. I'd just as soon put Masaki in women's clothes or something. What? Nah, he's even taller than I am. That wouldn't work. What is he trying to do? But telling her she can't help because it's too dangerous could have the opposite effect. Ayamu's staring at me, her eyes glittering with anticipation, and she's usually so reserved too. Maybe it'll be okay if we're really careful. I'm sure it will. We've got to make it okay, I guess. We've really got to do something, that's for sure. Masaki and Toji come to the hospital as the evening sun shines down on them. They don't see any patients anymore since it's already Saturday evening. Excuse me, is Sawashiro-san here? Masaki asks the nurse at the reception desk. One moment, please. The nurse disappears down the hallway, and Nanako comes back in her place. Oh, here for a visit? Huh? Visit who? Masaki asks, confused. Who? You don't know? Hazuki-san was hospitalized. Hazuki-san? Who's that? The owner of Moonworld. You don't know her? That's a coffee shop, right? I've heard of it, but I've never been there. For the love of... No, let's leave this for later. First, we should discuss what we came here for. Toji pulls herself together and turns to face Nanako. Yes? We're investigating Otsuki Keiko. We'd like you to tell us if you know anything about him. Nadeko's expression clouds for a moment. Otsuki-san of the Blessed Congregation, right? I've never met him, so I don't know anything. Apparently, he made many trips to the Hidegata settlement in the past. This man, have you seen him before? Toji shows Nanako the photo. Do you know him? No, I really don't know him. You don't recognize him? No, I'm sorry. Nanako hangs her head. Well, it's a moot point if you don't know him. Toji sighs. This means we'll have to go ask your father. I guess so. There's something suspicious about Nadeko's behavior, but as long as Toji doesn't point it out, there's nothing Masaki can say about it. Where's Hazuki-san's room? Oh, right this way. Nadeko heads down the hallway, looking relieved. Yeah, I'll bet she's glad they didn't ask any more questions. Oh, it's been a while. The woman on the bed greets Toji when she sees her, then sees Masaki and tilts her head. Who's this? Tokisaka's detective apprentice. My name is Masaki Tomoyuki. Masaki introduces himself and bows his head. He mentioned something about that last month. Something about Yukari-chan finding you. Masaki almost wants to correct her, but he really can't, seeing as she's right. I'm Hazuki Kyoko. Nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you too. How's your injury? It's fine. I've got painkillers, so I'm doing okay. I heard you haven't informed the police. Yeah, I don't want to make it a big deal. Well, there's nothing I can do if that's what you think. Toji snorts, looking rather dissatisfied. That is kind of weird that she hasn't told the police about it, though. I mean, it's like she got stabbed and she's not going to call the police. I feel like the stab might have been self-inflicted, honestly, but I'm just kind of wondering why. Masaki and Toji head outside after bidding farewell to Kyoko. Are she and Tokisaka-san in a relationship? I bet they deny it, but... Toji lights a cigarette and takes a puff with a sigh. That probably wouldn't be a stretch. Uh-huh. Unsure of how to take that, all Masaki can do is reply with a vague acknowledgement. More like they hook up. They just have sex. That's pretty much their relationship. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say it is a little bit more than that. More like they're just comforting each other because their significant others are dead. So, I don't know. Can you call that a relationship? I mean, I guess, you know, to be fair, it does seem like they do have a connection. But the connection is kind of based on that they're both lonely because their significant others are dead. Fuyumi sits alone in a dark room, the lights out. I am very worried about Fuyumi. I think she's very depressed and might be suicidal at this point. She hasn't felt the urge to do anything since Yukiko left. She's somehow managing to keep up with her work at the daycare, but after she returns home, she can't do much else. She stuffed all the money she received from the Blessed Congregation back into the bag, leaving it alone for now. She has no desire to use it. She feels that if she does, she'll be acknowledging the fact that she sold Yukiko. Her home, without Yukiko. Up until not long ago, that was normal. To Fuyumi, who had never known a family, Yukiko was the first family she had, even if it was just make-believe that went on for a long time. She wants to see Yukiko. However, there's nothing Fuyumi can do now. The doorbell rings. Fuyumi sluggishly raises her head and stares at the front door. The bell rings again. Could it be that Yukiko has returned? She can't just sit there once she has the thought. Fuyumi runs to the door. Yukiko? Huh? It's not Yukiko who's standing there. It's Yukiko's classmate, Kohane. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought... Nah. Tori-san, right? Did you need something? Could you help me see Yukio-chan? For a second, Fuyumi thinks she heard wrong. Yukio? Not Yukiko? Even if it were true, Fuyumi's in no place to help her see Yukiko at the moment. Sorry, who's that? Yukio-chan. Yukiko-chan's brother. Yukiko's brother. She's never heard anything about him. Yukiko was alone when Fuyumi took her in. And she hasn't heard anything about him from anyone in the Blessed Congregation either, of course. Are you sure she has a brother? Then please let me see Yukiko-chan. I can't do that either right now. Fuyumi shakes her head feebly. Then... Kohane gets her bag and takes a notebook out from it. Could you give this to Yukiko-chan? Kohane says, writing something down. Sometime early tomorrow, if possible. Please. I'm not sure if... Fuyumi tries to plan in her head as she speaks. She has work at the daycare tomorrow. She could ask someone else to cover for her, or... I can't guarantee anything, but if you're alright with that... Please. She rips out the paper when she's finished writing, folds it, and hands it to Fuyumi. Alright. So, she literally sold her daughter. They gave her money once they took her, so she knew this was going to happen. But why? Like, why? Why'd you do it? For the money? Was that the reason? Like, was it just for the money? Why did she adopt her? Like, was it because she was special? Why was she special? There's so many questions I have about all this. Kohane leaves and Fuyumi returns to the living room, turning on the lights. If she's going to ask someone else to do it, she can't simply hand them the paper. She takes an envelope out of a drawer. When she's about to put it inside, she gets curious about its contents. Feeling apologetic as she does it, Fuyumi opens up the folded paper. Sun risen on a new day, ever brilliant, ever shining, over both elephant and amoeba, a star brighter than Spica, devoted to both you and me. Is it a tanka? A classical form of Japanese poetry similar to haiku? She has no idea what it means. Is this sort of thing popular these days? Fuyumi has no idea. Give this to Yukiko early tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday. Could this mean something? Fuyumi thinks it over for a while, but can't find an answer. I can't find an answer either, to be honest. For any of this. I've been reading documents about the case all day since morning. Most of the victims are taken by surprise, then injected with a muscle relaxant. Yeah, I'm guessing they probably got that from a certain pharmaceutical company. If she stays on her guard, she probably won't get pricked, but... The doorbell rings. Yukari's here, so I probably don't need to get it. If we put something like an iron plate inside a scarf, we wouldn't have to worry about her neck. I wouldn't want to wear a scarf like that. Nissan, Sato-san's here. The door opens and Yukari peeks in curiously. She seems to have business with you. Okay, send her in. Alright, I will. Brother, are you having sex with my friends again? Yukari heads back to the front door. I immediately hear footsteps approaching again. Thank you for waiting, Tokisaka-sensei. No problem. Wait, what's that long bag? It's a shinai. Yeah, we know what a shinai is. It's a wooden kendo sword, or wooden katana. Aimu says nonchalantly. Well, there's nothing strange about someone in the kendo club having a shinai, but... I thought it could come in handy, so I brought it. Well, it'd be reassuring if you had it, but... Should I have brought a bokuto instead? A different sort of kendo practice sword made of wood and thus slightly more dangerous. That's not the problem. You can't hide that, can you? If I put it on my back, I don't think they'd notice. You couldn't draw it then, though. I suppose that's true. She puts the bag down in the corner of the room and takes off her coat. I wanted to bring my armor too, but it's still in the art room, so I decided not to. I think they would notice that. If I put it on under my clothes, they would stretch, huh? She arrives at that conclusion while she's speaking. There's a good chance you'll be attacked with a blade of some kind, so it'd be nice if you could pad your defense somehow. I could put an iron plate in my shirt, but that'd be heavy and probably hinder my movement. What on earth are you talking about? Yukari enters the room with tea. Nothing, just strategizing. I won't ask what sort of strategy you're making, but Nissan, come here for a moment. Yukari pulls my sleeve and we head out into the living room. Nissan, please don't get Sato-san caught up in anything strange. Don't worry, I'll be with her. I'm even more worried if you're going to be with her. I just know you're going to be reckless. I'm trying to be careful enough that that doesn't happen. That reminds me, Yukari, do you have a mask? Yes, I do. I return to my room and hand Aimu the mask. What's this for? It's to hide your face, and for protection just in case the killer has some sort of inhalable drug. Most of the victims are injected with a muscle relaxant, right? We can't guarantee the next one will be, though. You can never be too cautious. I can't let her get hurt. I thought maybe if you wanted to protect your neck, you could put an iron plate in your scarf, but... How would I wear that? My thoughts exactly. Oh my god. This is gonna be a mess. Good morning, Kayahara-san. Morning. Are you not feeling well? A little, yeah. Fuyumi sighs. Fuyumi's well aware that she shouldn't be making such a pained expression in front of the children. But she's been like this all throughout the last few days. When Yukiko left and she became all alone, she felt like she might revert to her past self. Do you think you should take the day off? Nanako brings her hand to Fuyumi's forehead. It feels nice and cool. You don't seem to have a fever. I couldn't take care of the kids if I had a cold. Say, Sawashiro-san. Yes? You know someone in the Blessed Congregation, right? The person I met at Moonworld on New Year's. That's right. Oh, but he's not a member. He's just a doctor. That's fine. I wanted to get this to someone in the congregation. Fuyumi hands Nanako an envelope. The note Kohana gave her yesterday is inside. Your daughter? I know I should give it to her myself, but they might just take me away at the door if I go. What happened? Fuyumi's only response to Nanako's question is to shake her head. She can't explain it all. I understand. Nanako nods and tucks the envelope away. Thank you. I'm sorry about this. No worries. I have something I need to do there today anyway. I can do this too. Nanako says, handing the baby she was cradling to Fuyumi. Anyway, I'll leave her to you. Fuyumi holds the baby as she sleeps soundly. Of course. I'll take good care of her. I wonder if that note is actually going to get to Yukiko. When I'm taking a break in the living room, the doorbell rings. I wasn't expecting any more guests after Aimu, but... Nissan, Aoki-san's here. Toji. Did something happen? I'm coming in. Toji enters the living room and tosses me an envelope. What's this? Info I've collected from a couple of publishers. The Sheep of Purgatorio, huh? Sato-san, could you come here for a moment? What is it, senpai? Understanding the meaning of the look I shoot her, Yukari takes Aimu from the living room. Good. I don't really want those two hearing about this. You know the magazine Art and Literature? Yeah, they published Katsuragi Shin's novels. They had an early draft of The Sheep of Purgatorio in their editorial department. An early draft? It didn't have a title or anything, but it was written by Katsuragi Shin himself. There's a copy of it in that envelope. I take the papers out of the envelope. It's just the contents copied over by someone in the editorial department, but it looks similar, doesn't it? I guess so. As I look it over, I can definitely see this being the initial draft for The Sheep of Purgatorio. Looks like this publisher might sue the guys who published the book since they've got this. Well, they can go right ahead. They can't really do anything if they don't find the guy who wrote the book. They're looking for him too. Incidentally, the handwriting on The Sheep of Purgatorio didn't match anybody in the editorial department. So they're not hiding him there, but that would narrow it down to people who have seen that early draft. It's just a draft though. I'm sure he wrote a couple of them. When did this publisher get that draft? 1954, before the murders. Well, it'd be another matter if they got it after the murders. I doubt anyone in art and literature, or someone with connections to them, looked at the draft and wrote it. They wouldn't have any reason to send it to a different publisher. It'd be better to send it to their own company and profit off of it. And the ones who published The Sheep of Purgatorio. They probably don't even know about this draft. I imagine it was someone who had direct contact with Katsuragi Shin, with Mamiya Shinji. Though I can't say when. Somebody who came across Katsuragi Shin while he was on the run? Well, they'd certainly have access to Katsuragi Shin's input. But then, why did they write the manuscript? To fulfill their own sense of vanity? That could very well be it, but what if Katsuragi Shin couldn't write it himself? Like if he was dead? That's not the only possibility, of course. Maybe he lost an arm, or stopped writing entirely and entrusted his ideas to someone else. Frankly, I don't want to consider the possibility that he's dead. If he's dead, then what have I been chasing? I shouldn't view Katsuragi Shin as anything but a lead to Toko's whereabouts. It'd be for the better if I could do that. We should look for any sightings of him, alive or otherwise. We'll have to look into all the unidentified bodies that have turned up since then too. Sure, but can we do that tomorrow? You got something to do today? Or rather, are you scheming something? Just a little something. I'd be grateful if you could be on call until then. Got it. Also, pardon my asking, but could I borrow that toy of yours? I point at the tonfa I see poking out of Toji's coat. I don't mind, but are you going to use it? Not me. I indicate the hallway with my chin. Yukari took her out of the room, but I'm sure she's listening in. Nothing to be done about that. Your sister's more active than I thought. No, not her. That'd be kind of funny. If Yukari was the one swinging around a tonfa. After leaving her child with Fuyumi, Nanako heads to the Blessed Congregation headquarters. In her pocket is the letter to Kaihara Yukiko she was entrusted with. Nanako doesn't know why Yukiko is in the Blessed Congregation, but she's sure something is going on here, now that the founder Oribe is dead. She's incapable of getting to the bottom of things, though. Rather, she doesn't even intend to. It's got nothing to do with me, she thinks to herself. When she states her business to the imposing security guards, Nanako is led inside to a room with a wooden floor. She wanted to consult with Naori, but he appears to be away on some other business. Being here alone, the thought of it suddenly makes her uneasy. It's not that the Blessed Congregation has done anything. She hasn't heard anything to that effect. The rumors that they had something to do with her co-worker's death were completely unfounded. She knows that it's just people's emotions that lead to murder, not anything like religious doctrines. Well, I'm not so sure about that. The door behind her opens and Nanako turns around. You have something to deliver to the prophet. Nanako gasps when she sees the man, Utsugi. He's the man in the picture she saw yesterday. No, she had seen him long before then. This probably goes without saying, but we'll be looking over the letter's contents, and you won't be able to meet with her directly, of course. Yes. Nanako nods distractedly and holds out the letter. There's no need to be so nervous, Utsugi says. But Nanako draws back. She wants to get out of here as soon as possible. Please excuse me. Entering the medical room Naori always uses, Nanako takes a deep breath. The temperature is cool, and yet she's sweating. She can't believe yesterday, and then again today. She wraps her arms around herself. If she doesn't, she doubts she'd be able to stop shaking. Nanako breaks down, tears spilling from her cheeks, unable to move from that spot for quite some time. Did she do something she's ashamed of or something? I don't know. That makes me very suspicious of her. I've come to Shinjuku. The plan is to take Masaki to Hinagami Pharmaceuticals so we can ask Hinagami Shizuru about Utsugi Keigo, but... Oh, Tokisaka-san. I find Masaki in front of Nakamura, yeah. A long-standing food maker headquartered in Shinjuku. What the heck are you doing? What do you mean? I'm just eating lunch. Masaki lifts up a bag of curry bread and shows me. Well, I guess that makes sense. Want one? I'll stick to the pork buns. After lunch, we head to Hinagami Pharmaceuticals in Yotsuya. I've heard most of it from Toji, but why are you trying to figure out what Utsugi was doing in your settlement? I just want to know why he was in such a boring place. I imagine it had something to do with running their cult, though. All this Miko and Prophet stuff, I guess it is kind of similar. It just kind of feels like they were carrying on the Shigusa Shrine customs on their own. But if it was before the war, the original founder Shigusa Michio would have been alive. There would have been no reason for Utsugi to have gone all the way to the Hidegata settlement. Utsugi Keigo, not Shigusa Michio or Orbe Tokahiro, had some reason to be there. So, does your dad know something about this? From what I heard on the phone yesterday, he does seem to know something. So, now we're going to see what that something is. Was the phone call with your sister? Yes. Why? Oh, no reason. I hold my tongue when I see Karen behind the glass door. We've been waiting for you, Nisama. Karen emerges and greets us. Please, come in. Sure. I follow Masaki inside. We're taken to a reception room where Shizuru soon joins us. We're terribly sorry to take time out of your Sunday like this. I bow my head to him first, under the assumption that it must be difficult for Masaki to greet him. There's no problem. I was working anyway. Shizuru sits down on the sofa across from us. This was about Otsugi Keigo, right? Yes, you know him? Well, he's a shareholder after all. Only a small amount of shares, but we've met. So at least we have confirmation that he owns shares in Hinagami Pharmaceuticals. So he doesn't own many stocks, but do you meet often? Not often, no, but he visited the settlement a few times. Do you know why he was there? Seems he was interested in the settlement's festival. It wasn't every year, but he often came in March. I never saw him there. Well, that was back when you were little, and it seems like he was staying somewhere other than the Futami Inn so that he didn't attract attention to himself. I've experienced firsthand how much attention outsiders can draw in that settlement. Was he so interested in it that he would go to such lengths to avoid the villagers seeing him? I don't get it either. Someone from outside, and from a religious group. Was there something he could gain from observing our settlement? So if he was staying somewhere other than the inn, did he have some other acquaintance in the settlement? I believe he was staying with Sawashiro there. I don't know when they met each other though. Sawashiro? Nanako-san's father, probably. He was a prospector, a mining engineer, but after he lost a leg in an accident, he made his living on other avenues, gambling and the like. I wonder if that's how he came to know Otsuki. I don't know that much. Just, it seems like he found work in Tokyo through Otsuki. Then Nanako-san would have known him. You'd have to ask her. She said she didn't yesterday. You probably just didn't notice. Hinagami-san, when did Otsugi Keigo stop visiting the settlement? He probably stopped coming after the war started. We didn't have a Miko anymore then, so there weren't any other festivals. So then, the last time Otsugi came, was that March? The year that Kawase Sachiko was killed for Hina-sama's curse. I wasn't home that year, so I can't say for sure, but I bet he was there. It was our first official festival in a long time after all. An official festival, one after which the curse occurs. What are your thoughts on Hina-sama's curse? I think it's incredibly asinine. So you don't believe in the curse? Regardless of what the people up top, or the villagers may say, I think it's impossible for Hina-sama to curse people to death. We're in agreement. I don't ask further. Now's not the time. So, Ayato. What is it? Masaki, Ayato, raises his head. There's no need to answer my mother and father's expectations. Just live freely. That's what I intend to do. Masaki averts his gaze, puffing up his cheeks a bit. There's a knock on the door to the reception room. Come in. Pardon me, I'm sorry for the delay, but I've brought some tea. Cowden walks in with a tray of teacups. Now then, all the players are present. Set a trap or play it safe. Oh boy, here we go. Okay, well, I guess now's the time. Set a trap. That's right, Hinagami-san. I found out who the last person on that list you gave me was. I start, as Cowden hands me some tea. Cowden gives a little start. I see, but that's... Yes, I know, but she might still be targeted, so we'll be keeping her safe for the time being. Is that true? Come to think of it, I haven't told this schmuck yet. She's still a student, and I'm unable to give you her name yet, but with all that's happened, I imagine we'll have to speak with the police about this sooner or later. I suppose you're right. Chizuru sighs. I take a little sip of the tea Cowden gave me, wetting my lips. But I can't understand why his marriage candidates are being targeted. I glance at Masaki next to me. Is it something to do with me? It's probably because you're the heir to the company. That seems the most likely motive for now. Without that, he's practically a vagabond. I suppose I can't deny that. Sounds like he wants to, though. Well, whatever. Let's keep going a bit. At first, I thought the killer didn't want him to take over the company, but lately I've begun to think otherwise. What do you mean? If that was the killer's aim, don't you think they'd try another method first, like threatening the company? But you weren't threatened at all, were you? I turned to Cowden to ask the question. Huh? No, not that I recall. Exactly. Though he may be the heir, he isn't even an employee, and these are only his marriage candidates. If they were killed, the company wouldn't be able to do anything about it, and they certainly don't make sense as targets. And above all, if they didn't want him to take over the company, they could have just killed him. There's no reason to go and track down all of his marriage candidates and kill them. Yeah, that doesn't really make sense as a motive. If if that's the case, they could have, yeah, like Reiji says, they could just go and kill him. He wanted to kill himself anyway. They should have just let him do it, let him die. I don't understand it. I don't know the killer's true motive yet myself. That's why this is all theoretical. But, for instance, maybe the killer would be inconvenienced by their marriages. Perhaps they were killed because they weren't fit to marry into the Hinagami family. The Miko marries into the Hinagami family. Shizuru himself is the one who told me that. I wouldn't suggest people who are unqualified to marry into the family, would I? Yes, you're exactly right. Well, it was just a theory, so feel free to ignore it. I drain my tea and stand up. Well then, we'll be going. Huh? I grab Masaki's arm and stand him up. Thank you for meeting with us, and thank you for the tea. You're welcome. Sent off by Kauden, we leave Hinagami Pharmaceuticals. Okay, what was all that about? What was the trap we just set there? You kinda just said what you had to say and left, huh? Masaki mutters when we get outside. Well, that was my goal today. What do you mean? This is a little dangerous, but I've set a trap. Now, how exactly will the culprit find out about this? Oh. So that was the trap. So just tell them what your theory is and leave and see how, see if the quote-unquote the culprit reacts to it. Okay, so this is... I still think it's Kauden. I still think it's her. Kill all the other women so that the only one left is you. Unless they already know. Also, what about the thing with Aimu? Is that still going to happen? I kind of want to see what's going to happen with that. Is Aimu going to act as bait? I guess the trap is going to set the killer in motion, and then Aimu might be pretending to be the target. Well, yeah, she's not going to go after... Wait a minute. Okay. So this is, like, not making a lot of sense to me, because Aimu's not one of the candidates. Why wouldn't you just, like, use Kohane as bait instead? Because obviously she's probably one of the other marriage candidates. So just use her as bait and, to lure the killer out. Masaki returns to Shinjuku Station. Tokisaka continued on via the Cho line. Having heard the basic outline of things, Masaki now heads for Tori Kohane. He's met her previously on New Year's Eve, but he had no idea she was one of his marriage candidates. Yeah, that's, again, really fucking strange. He can't imagine that there's any connection. Masaki has no idea why her mother was on his father's list. But he's well aware that, if left alone, she could very well be targeted by the killer. He knows she needs to be protected, but he doesn't feel particularly confident on his own. Tokisaka told him to wait since he'd be getting backup, but he sees a familiar head of white hair coming out of the crowd of the station. Sorry for the wait. No, I didn't have to wait. So, where's the girl we're supposed to protect? Kugiyama on the Inokashira line. He divulges what Tokisaka told him. Then we could have met up in Kichijoji. It'll be a bit of a pain to get there from Shinjuku. Let's take the Kyo line and transfer at Meidame. It's a pain just getting to the west entrance from here. You'll have to deal with that. Surprised she didn't smack him in the face for saying that. They walk a bit from Kugiyama Station until they see a house with a nameplate labeled Tori. This is it. Are they not home? It's around the time for some lights to be on, but the house is as dark as pitch inside. Looks like the front door's unlocked. Toji mumbles after checking the door. Don't just open it. Masaki tries to stop her, but she's already stuck her head inside the doorway by the time he says something. How odd. Well, yeah, who would go out without locking their doors these days? No, wait, could the culprit have already... That's not it, don't worry. Toji sighs and opens the door. There aren't any girls' shoes, so the daughter must be out. But look at the other shoes. There's too much dust on these men's clogs and sandals. Toji points at the entranceway. It's not like they haven't been used in a while. It's like they've never been touched. They definitely haven't gone out, but it's way too quiet inside. Tokisaka-san said that her parents were both bedridden. It doesn't even sound like anyone's here, though. I'm going in. You can't! Ignoring Masaki's protests, Toji enters the house. Not wanting to loiter around the entrance, Masaki has no choice but to follow her. Looks like there really is no one here. Toji returns after making the rounds through the rooms. Both her parents are gone? There isn't even a futon out for them. It doesn't look like any room other than this one is used at all. They're all covered in dust. What could that mean? How should I know? What's this Tori Kohane like? Just a normal girl. I haven't met her many times, but she seemed really lively and cheerful. So she's lying about her parents. I guess so. Misaki can't seem to get that impression from Kohane, though. Then where did her parents go? Misaki looks out into the hallway from the room. There's dust covering the dark floorboards, footprints clearly standing out in it. They should be more careful about the footprints they leave here. I have to wonder when they disappeared too. Toji mutters. It doesn't look like they disappeared in the last couple of days. The clogs and sandals at the door were for summer. But their shoes are still here. That means they didn't walk out of here themselves, right? Though obviously they could have had more shoes. You think someone took them away? That's a possibility. But then why would the daughter not say anything? Maybe Yukari-san knows something. Let's head back there then. We're not getting anything done here. I suppose you're right. Yeah, that is very, very suspicious that her parents aren't there and the whole house is covered in dust. They head to Nishio Gekubo from Kogiyama, then take the bus to the Tokisaka residence. They ring the doorbell. Oh, Misaki-san, Aoki-san. Yukari appears in kimono garb. If you're looking for my brother, he just left with Sato-san. Actually, we have a question for you right now. Please, come in. It's his first time entering the Tokisaka residence while Reiji isn't home. You look like you're in a hurry. Yukari urges them on as if sensing something from Misaki's expression. We'd like to ask you some questions about your friend Tori Kohane-san. Kohane? Yukari's expression clouds over for a moment. Has she ever talked to you about her parents? I've heard that she used to be in an orphanage. However, she's never said anything about her parents. Not her adoptive parents, nor her birth parents. Yukari shakes her head. Have you been to her house? I haven't. Is Kohane involved in this case somehow? I can't say quite yet. If you're curious, ask your brother about it. My brother wouldn't tell me. Then I really have no right to. Toji shakes her head. But I'm sure my brother is up to something dangerous. If it has something to do with Kohane, I can't just sit idly by and watch. I understand your feelings, but I don't want to be the only one who doesn't know what's happening when my friends are involved. Yukari hangs her head, her shoulders trembling. Oh, tell her or don't tell her. I feel like we should tell her. Yeah, I mean, telling her is the right thing to do. Tori-san may be targeted by a killer. There's a chance of it anyway. Misaki! Misaki ignores Toji's protest and continues. But that's only a possibility. We might be worrying over nothing. Why would Kohane be targeted? I can't tell you that. He can't bear to tell her that it's because she's a marriage candidate for him. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that'd be really awkward, wouldn't it? I see. Yukari sighs. We're looking for her at the moment. Do you have any idea where she'd be if she's not home? Other than home? I don't know. It's Sunday, so it's not like we had class. Her being out isn't an issue in and of itself, but most likely she has no idea of the danger she could be in. But at the same time, the killer shouldn't have any idea about her existence yet either. Though now that Tokisaka's sown the seeds, it's only a matter of time until she's found. Yep, they know now. If the killer is the person in that room at the time when Reiji was revealing what he knew, or if they were listening in, or they, work for the pharmaceutical company or are associated with the pharmaceutical company, then yeah, they know. Does this have anything to do with how Kohane's been acting strange lately? Strange? Yes, she seems to be thinking about Yukiko-chan a lot, and her brother. Her brother? Yes, though Yukiko herself doesn't seem to remember him. He's called Yukio-san, and Kohane seems to really want to see him. Yukio. I saw that name on the list. She must mean the list of orphans at the White Lily Garden she and Tokisaka were looking over at the Metropolitan Police Department the other day. Misaki hasn't seen it, but Yukio might have been on it. If she doesn't remember him, maybe she went to Kayahara-san, her mother, to ask about him. Yeah, that's actually a good deduction. Sounds plausible. You know where she is? Yes. Please let me come with you. Yukari asks the two of them when they stand up. Misaki glances at Toji. If you want to talk to your friend, you should probably do it now, while there isn't much danger. Before the culprit finds out about Kohane. But don't go off on your own. Stay by my side, otherwise I won't be able to protect you if I need to. Alright, I understand. Yukari nods. Oh, and it'll probably be hard to move around in that outfit, so go change, okay? Right, I understand. By the time they reach Yukiko's apartment in Musashi Sakai, it started snowing and the sun is completely set. Looks like no one's home. Toji returns from the entrance. Well, we have no idea whether or not she came here. She could be at the daycare, but we're supposed to be looking for Tori Kohane, though I guess we don't have any other leads. Should we consult with the police? We can't mount a large-scale search and have the killer notice us, and no, it's nothing. Masaki imagines Toji was about to say something about Kohane's adoptive parents. Should we split up and look for her? No, we should stay together. It'll make things easier to deal with and you easier to protect. I understand. Then let's go to the daycare. They catch a taxi on Renjaku Street and take it all the way to the New Leaf Garden in Kogane. The lights are on in the daycare. Pardon us. When Masaki enters, he finds Fuyumi and Nanako seated across from each other at a small table. The two of them both look pretty tired to him. Oh, what's going on? Fuyumi raises her head and then tilts it. Has Kohane been here? Yukari says before Masaki can. Tori-san? She hasn't been here today, but yesterday she came to my apartment and gave me a letter. A letter? Yes, she wanted me to give it to Yukiko today, so I asked Nanako-san to deliver it. I have no idea whether or not she actually got it. Nanako mutters. Well, nothing you can do about that. Do you know what it said? Toji asked Fuyumi. I think it was a poem, a tanka, something about the sun rising on a new day maybe. Could you write down whatever you remember of it? Sure. Fuyumi brings over a piece of paper and a pencil. It started with the sun, something about always shining? Let's see. Fuyumi runs the pencil over the paper. Why did she want to give her a tanka? Who knows? I imagine it must have some sort of message in it. Something like this? Fuyumi sets down her pencil. Sun rising on a new day, always brilliant, always shining, over elephant and amoeba, a star brighter than Spica, devoted to you and me. Something like that anyway. What on earth does this mean? If it's a message, I don't understand it. Is it code? Toji stares at the tanka. What's all this about the sun? Does amoeba mean something? If she wanted her to get it today, does that mean they were supposed to meet tonight? I'm not really seeing a location here. Well, that'd defeat the purpose of it being a code, right? Do they have some sort of code only they understand? An acrostic poem. Yukari mutters after staring at the paper for a few moments. Yes, I remember them talking about these. They used to play with them a lot. Come to think of it, you were talking about the Iroha, weren't you? Yes, I think there are other words hidden in this poem somewhere. They all read the poem over again. Sun, all, dev? The beginnings don't really make sense. The ends don't work either. You're sure this was the poem? I'm not terribly confident, no. Fuyumi mutters, hanging her head. Maybe if you put them together. I see. So if this indicates a place, it would be... Oh, Jesus, I don't fucking know. Okay, well, I guess it would make sense to be here. The academy. Of course, they'd meet there. It's snowing. Yukiko stands at the window, gazing at the sky. The empty classroom is cold. Her exhalation's white. Yukiko snuck out of the Blessed Congregation building to come here. When Yukiko was given the opened letter and read it, this location immediately came to mind. Yukiko herself doesn't really know how she came to that conclusion, but she felt that she needed to come here as soon as possible. She couldn't figure out the reason why, though. She felt as though something was happening, and it scared her. Something even scarier than being brought to the Blessed Congregation. She gets dizzy and puts her hand on the window. Occasionally, she has these lapses in memory. What if it's not necessarily amnesia she has, but one of the side effects of the drug she was given when she was at the orphanage? Just a theory, though. Ever since she started taking that medicine, she's been having those dreams that seem like lost memories. And then these drugs that give her back her memories, I guess. Every one of them depicts frightening incidents. Yukiko looks down at her hands. These hands, they're drenched in sin. From back then, long ago. The door to the classroom opens and Yukiko reflexively recoils. If a security guard's found her, she'll be thrown out. She needs to avoid that. You came, Yukiko-chan. That voice. Kohane-chan. Yukiko raises her head. It's been a long time since you've called me by my name, Yukiko-chan. Yeah. Yukiko doesn't know why she used Kohane's name. She simply felt that she'd called her that a long time ago. She can't even tell whether she doesn't remember or whether she's starting to remember little by little. If you came here, then you understood the meaning of that poem, right? Kohane approaches and stands behind Yukiko. Sunday evening, Oba Academy. She voices the words that come to her mind. Right, it's easy enough to find if you take the beginnings and ends of the lines. Kind of a shame that I couldn't give a more accurate time and place, though. Kohane's reflection in the mirror smiles a little. But you understand that. You must have remembered some stuff, right? Huh? You solved the code in the poem and called me Kohane-chan. Kohane-chan, I still don't... We all ate candies together, didn't we? Kohane keeps going, ignoring Yukiko's uncertainty. When they gave us those vaccines, they'd give us candy as a reward for being good, remember? Okay, so yeah, Kohane is suspicious as fuck. I mean, it's not only now that we know her parents are gone, but also just her saying all this shit. She knew like way more than she was letting on. Did that happen? She remembers getting shots. It wasn't the pain, but the shock of the needle pricking her that made her almost cry. But someone consoled her. Who was it? Have you remembered? Kohane gazes into Yukiko's face. I don't know. All Yukiko can do is shake her head. I don't know, but I feel like that might have happened. Was it Kohane who had consoled her then? No, it wasn't. The one who would stroke Yukiko's hair was... Yukiko-chan. Kohane puts her hand on Yukiko's shoulder. What? Please help me see Yukio-chan. Yukio? It's the first time Yukiko's heard that name in her present state. He's your brother, isn't he, Yukiko-chan? Why don't you remember him? I don't know what to tell you. She doesn't know what she doesn't know. But, Yukiko thinks to herself, if I really had a brother, could I actually have forgotten about him? Why won't you let me see Yukio-chan? Kohane's grip gets stronger. I don't know. I don't know that person. Yukiko shakes her head over and over again. How could you not know him? Are you that scared of me? Taking Yukio-chan away from you? Kohane's hand on Yukiko's shoulder inches toward her neck. I don't like where this is going. No. Stop, Kohane-chan. Yukiko tries to escape Kohane's hand, but she can't seem to move, as if she's in a dream. The scene before her seems to blend into the images she's seen in her dreams. The one being strangled then was... Yukiko hears the classroom door open as her consciousness begins to fade. The girl emerges from the house and pulls the collar of her coat up, walking off. The skirt of her white uniform peeks out from under her coat as she walks. She walks off toward the station without looking back. A shadow slowly follows her so as not to be noticed. No one but these two are on the street, and no cars pass by either. If they walk a little more, they'll get to the river. There are many trees in that area, and it's separated from the houses nearby. If the shadow is to move, it will be there. The girl stops. What the fuck? That looked like a fucking demon just coming out at her. I thought you'd show up. Aimu says to her attacker, removing the mask covering her mouth. Her attacker lifts up a knife. Please give yourself up. Aimu points the business end of her tonfa at her attacker. Oh, she's wearing like one of the Oni masks. It's a demon mask. Yeah. Okay, that's one. I think that's one of the masks that the Miko wore. Aimu repels her attacker's blade. Cease this futile resistance. Man, Aimu's waifu. Her attacker turns. I leap out to block any possible means of escape. Whoa there. End of the line for you, I say to the black-robed attacker. My adversary is still holding that knife. I'm empty-handed. If I'm attacked, I'll be helpless. I close in, carefully measuring the distance between us. So, we have gotten one thing confirmed already. The attacker, or the murderer, is a woman, which I pretty much was like 99 to 100% certain it was a woman. I close in, carefully measuring the distance between us. So it was a trap. I don't recognize the rest of her, though. Nanako? Is that who this is? Because, like, her hair is brown. No, that's not Nanako. That's Karen. Her hair's down. That's Karen. Yeah, because she has brownish hair, too. That's Karen. It's definitely her. And she has the same voice if you hear it. I hear a woman's voice from behind the mask. It may have been rude, but I felt it was necessary. Drop your weapon. Aimu walks over and thrusts out her tonfa. The knife falls to the ground. Its plain wood handle is stained with dried blood. I played right into your hand, didn't I? Slender fingers reach behind the mask and remove it. Oh, who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? I didn't think you'd take the bait quite so quickly, though, Hinagami Karen-san. Oh! I knew it. I called it. Guys, didn't I call it like a while back? It was her. It was her. She has the most motive. She has the most reason to do this. It had to have been her. I knew it. I knew it was her. I had no choice but to take it. She's not a candidate, is she? Karen glances at Aimu with her tonfa after she takes off her mask. Nope, just my talented assistant. I see. I never stood a chance then. I'd like to believe I was pretty perplexed. If you look at your previous crimes, you immobilize all your victims with drugs. I was confident that Aimu would be able to take her on. You hit Takamiya Megure-san with that clock, but you didn't need to use drugs in that case, because her guard was completely down around you. Yeah, it was really easy to narrow down who the culprit was if you consider, like, who the victims were close to. I think Megure was the one that really made me, narrow down my list of suspects. And then, like, as the game progressed, I was like, thinking about it, if all these women are his marriage candidates, and considering how much Karen seems to care about, Ayato, I think it's her. But yeah, I was right. I was right. Why do this? Karen doesn't respond, instead asking me her own question. Taking the whole situation into account, I figured you were the killer, but I didn't have any definitive evidence, so I needed to catch you in the act. How underhanded. I mean, I don't think you're in any position to be criticizing people's methods, considering you're a fucking murderer. I can't deny it. How many times were you going to do this until you caught me? Don't get me wrong, I thought you'd come today or tomorrow if you were going to come at all. Why is that? Because I insinuated that the police would be involved, and you're not one to make careful plans. In all your past crimes, you displayed the corpse with whatever was available at the scene. Karen doesn't respond. Did you think that you wouldn't be suspected if the victims weren't people you were close to? Though that was only the first two. Did you figure it out after Goriko died? I wouldn't have let you keep killing if I'd been suspicious of you then. I didn't realize until much later. I shouldn't have done it in that tiny settlement, I suppose. I suppose so. That narrowed the suspects down pretty drastically, and someone with a motive, who could most likely find out who the marriage candidates were, remained. So you couldn't think of a motive for Nanako-san? Right, I'm sure you wanted us to suspect Sawashiro-san instead of you, but Masaki, Ayato-kun, was still more suspicious than her. Yeah, like, that's where I was also having trouble. I'm like, what's Nanako's motive? I can think of what Karen's motive is, I can't think of Nanako's. I couldn't let my brother take the blame. But if all the victims were his marriage candidates, don't you think it would be natural for him to be suspected? I wouldn't give the Hinagami family to anyone else. Karen shakes her head. So you do want to take over Hinagami Pharmaceuticals? That's not the issue. What's most important to the Hinagami family is its bloodline. People from who knows where can't mingle their blood with ours. So I think she literally did want to get with her brother. That's some kind of elitism, a belief that she must prioritize passing on their ancestors' blood over anything else. Your father knows that too, though, doesn't he? I thought he was picking the candidates based on their blood. But they weren't legitimate successors of the Hinagami blood. They were nothing but a compromise after the death of the Miko. so those who aren't qualified to be the Miko aren't qualified to join the family. Precisely. Kaden smiles enigmatically. That's what makes the Hinagami family the Hinagami family. But you two aren't necessarily legitimate Hinagami children yourself, are you? I have proof of that. What I learned from the data I sent from back then was... Wait, what? Oh, I didn't know that. What the fuck? Kaden and Ayato aren't the Miko's children. Your mother wasn't the Miko, was she? Oh, you sound awfully unsure of that. Do you have proof? Well, sorry, but our mother was unequivocally the Miko. You should be able to confirm that with our father. I imagine what you were trying to say was that we aren't our father's children. Yeah, that. You were aware? Yes, we still inherit legitimate Hinagami blood. There's no problem. She can still insist they aren't legitimate because... I see. Your real father is Kureya Yuzuru-san. Okay, well, I didn't... When did that come up? What? How do we know that? Shizuru's brother, Yuzuru. I don't know his blood type, but if their parents were AA and AO, their children could be AA or AO as well. If Yuzuru was type AO, he couldn't have children with type O blood. Oh, the blood types. Is there some problem with that? I have no problem with it, but what about you, the Hinagami family? There's no problem. It doesn't change the fact that we're children of a man from the Hinagami family and the Miko, even if they were not officially married. That's a trivial matter. Where did you learn this, that Yuzuru-san was your father? The Hinagami family is one well-versed in medicine. If you look into the discrepancies in our blood types, it's easy to tell. It was simple enough for a layman like you to figure out as well, wasn't it? I suppose you're right. Then their father Shizuru has to have noticed as well. Was there a reason why he wasn't angry with Yuzuru? My father and grandparents were confused. What the Hinagami family needs is the power of the Miko. Other women have nothing of worth to contribute. I understand why you killed the marriage candidates, but now that there's no Miko, is the Hinagami family destined to die out? That's why I plan to become the Miko. You, the Miko? But you couldn't marry in. And why not? Kaden laughs. I love my brother. That day, when the Miko died, I thought I could become a new Miko. And yet, you can't bear children. Yes, I despaired. Unable to bear children, I was meaningless as the Miko. As a woman, I was unnecessary for the Hinagami family. That's why I had to kill the women who got close to my brother. Yeah, and the motive is exactly what I thought. I'm sorry, but that's nothing but envy. You killed over and over again. Not for anything like your family, but simply because you didn't want your brother taken away from you. I know that! Kaden raises her voice. I still didn't want my brother to be taken away from me. I've heard about enough. A man approaches, shining a flashlight at us. Guess who's here? You're late, Yaginuma. Apologies. Your idle chatter took a bit too long. I couldn't quite figure out where the confession was. Yaginuma advances toward Kaden, accompanied by police officers. You'll be coming with us, Hinagami Kaden. Kaden doesn't resist. Some of her belongings should be around here. A change of clothes and probably a clay doll imitating Hina-sama. I know. Can it, senpai? They're in that abandoned house. Kaden points toward the alley she first came out of. Go. A policeman runs off after Yaginuma's orders. Well then, I'd like to speak to you two as well, senpai. Do you have some time after this? I look at my watch, checking the time. Is my office in Shinjuku okay? Isn't your house closer? I'm not inviting you to my house. Fine, I wouldn't want to go to your house anyway. Why does it seem like Yaginuma's like a tsundere or something with the way he acts? It's true that I don't want him in my house, but I want to avoid any comments from Yukari upon my return even more. Sato-san, sorry about that, I say to Aimu, who's leaning against the wall as if exhausted after the tension broke. It wasn't anything I couldn't handle. We'll take a car to Shinjuku. Please get in. What do you want to do? Maybe you should get yourself... I'll accompany you. I'm your assistant after all, Tokisaka-sensei. Aimu says, walking off next to me. I just wanted to say something cool, but I probably shouldn't have acknowledged that, huh? So, there's just still a lot of questions, though. Like, what does the Blessed Congregation have to do with all of this? I mean, we kind of know. But what's Kohane up to as well? Like, I'm kind of curious about that. Masaki clings to the gates of Oba Girls Academy. The gate's heavily bolted and doesn't budge an inch. Clinging to that gate won't open it. Toji grumbles exasperatedly. The back door should be open, though there could be a security guard there. But if they entered from that door, we've got to go there. If they're actually here anyway. You're the one who made that call, aren't you? I think they're here, Sunday evening, Oba Academy. If she got that message, she would come here. Yukari trots off. Let's go. Toji and Masaki follow her, intruding onto campus grounds. They walk through the dead quiet campus. The floorboards creak as they walk, preventing them from moving too quickly. This way. Yukari leads them down the hallway. They have no idea what might happen, so Masaki or Toji should probably be in front, but... Get down! Masaki and Toji crouch down after Yukari's tense warning. The light from a flashlight passes over their heads. A patrol, huh? We're going up to the second floor. Please watch your step. The three of them slowly climb the stairs. A dark hallway stretches out before them. Someone's here. Toji notices first. They're fighting. It's this way. Toji runs off without making a sound, still crouched down. Is that your classroom? Yes. Yukari nods and the two of them press forward as well. What are you doing? Toji shouts after opening the door. Masaki runs over to the entrance as well. The two girls struggle with each other in the darkness, near the window. Kohane's strangling Yukiko, and just when Masaki realizes that, the sound of a cheek being slapped echoes through the classroom. Kohane separates from Yukiko, falling to the floor. Stop it! I don't know him! Yuki... Kohane opens her eyes wide. Kohane? Yukari jumps out from behind Masaki, running to Kohane where she sits on the floor. Kohane clutches at her chest, breathing wildly. Not good. She's hyperventilating. Toji runs over to Kohane as well. Bring me a bag. Okay. Masaki approaches the dazed Yukiko. Are you alright? I honestly don't know. I don't know him. Yukiko mutters toward the floor, not responding to Masaki's voice. Kaihara-san. He puts his hand on her shoulders. Yukiko raises her head, trembling. Is your neck alright? Yukiko's eyes open wide and tears spill out of them. Yukiko? Yukari runs over to Yukiko after handing Toji a paper bag. It's alright now. Yukiko clings to Yukari and cries. Don't worry. Yukari strokes Yukiko's hair. Masaki decides to leave things here to her and turns to Kohane instead. Toji is holding the paper bag to Kohane's mouth as she lies on the floor. Take slow, deep breaths. Phew. Is she alright? The suffocation and palpitations will probably stop, but it's probably psychogenic HVS, so we should get her to a hospital. I'll head outside and hail a taxi. Yeah, good idea. We'll be right out too. We shouldn't linger here. By the time he finds an unoccupied taxi on the Itsukaichi highway and returns to the school, Toji and the girls have left the school building. We'll head home, Yukari tells Toji, supporting Yukiko. Got it. Masaki, I'll leave them to you. Toji gets into the taxi, holding Kohane. The taxi takes off. I should get another one. Probably. If we're going to Musashi Sakai, maybe we should head to the opposite side of the street. Halfway through, Yukari looks over at Yukiko curiously. Yukiko? I don't want to go home right now. Yukiko clings to Yukari's arm, hiding her face. Since she was brought to the Blessed Congregation, if she goes straight home, they might just come for her again. Let's go to my house then, Yukari suggests, understanding Yukiko's feelings. Thank you. I'll take you home and head to the hospital then. Alright. They hail a taxi and Yukari and Yukiko get into the back. Masaki takes the passenger seat and gives directions to the driver. Wow. Okay. Well, like I said, I still wonder what Kohane's up to and what her role in this is. The taxi leaves with just Masaki inside. Let's get inside. Yukari urges Yukiko inside, the latter still hiding her face. Just when she turns the lights in the living room on, the phone rings. Yukiko, sit down here. Yukiko nods wordlessly. When Yukari sees her sit in the chair, she picks up the receiver. Hello, Tokisaka residence. Yukari, it's me. Nissan, where are you? She's relieved for a moment that it's a phone call from her brother, but she immediately asks the question. I'm with the police. We've got most everything tied up here, but there's some stuff we'll have to deal with, so I might not be home for a while. I see. She sighs, relieved. But her tone changes again right away, and she asks her brother. Is Sato-san alright? Yeah, don't worry. There was a slight pause before he responded. Nissan. She takes a breath first to calm herself down, but she can't help her tone from becoming a bit harsh. Please stop doing these things. I know. She can almost see him nodding on the other end of the line. Well, I mean, if he didn't do it, we'd never catch the fucking killer. And your friend would probably be dead. Or, more of your friends would be dead. Oh, Nissan, Yukiko's here at the moment. What? What do you mean? About that. Yukari gives her brother a short rundown of the events of the night. Then Tori-san's in the hospital. She's safe though, yeah? Yes, Aoki-san and Misaki-san are with her. Okay, I got it. Make sure you lock up, okay? Okay. Good night. She sets down the receiver. Yukiko, are you hungry? She asks, but Yukiko makes no move to respond. Yukari kneels down in front of Yukiko. Yukiko raises her face slightly. Her eyes are red and puffy. Tears spill from them and fall to the floor. I'm sorry. It's alright. Yukari gently embraces Yukiko, stroking her hair. It's alright. You can cry. Yukiko cries in Yukari's arms. Yukari doesn't ask her anything. She can only guess what happened between Yukiko and Kohane. But she decides to wait until they've calmed down and can tell her themselves. They take turns in the bath and lay out futon in Yukari's room. I'm sorry that you have to use my pajamas. It's okay. Yukiko is already in her futon. I'll turn off the lights then. The room sinks into darkness. Good night. Tokisaka-san. Yes? Can I sleep in your futon? Huh? Yukari turns her face to Yukiko. Her eyes are still adjusting to the darkness, so she can't see Yukiko's expression. Sure. It might be a bit tight, though. Yukari holds up her covers. Yukiko scoots over. You're not cold? I'm fine. Okay, this is getting a little bit weird. Yukiko, being taller than Yukari, curls up. She must be lonely. Yukari softly brings her arm up around Yukiko. Everyone has times when they seek something like the warmth of their mother. She imagines it must be hard to get your mother to spoil you at their age, though. She sort of understands Yukiko's feelings, having lost her mother at a young age. Yukari strokes Yukiko's head until her quiet sobs cease.